Test, test. Okay. Well, we are getting started in just a few minutes. Welcome to Promptcraft Live. Promptcraft Live! I always want to say it that way. Promptcraft Live. We call it Promptcraft Live because the community here on the Midjourney Discord server is Promptcraft. It's called the Promptcraft community. It's the community of people who nerd out about prompting. In particular, nerd out about prompting, not about how to use Midjourney's UI or whatever, but about prompting and about art. And in fact, on Monday the 15th, we will have Kentridge from the Blanton Museum of Art at the University of Texas at Austin coming back, returning to Promptcraft Live to have another talk about the tension between AI art and the existing establishment of art. And she was such an interesting guest speaker. I'm so happy to have her back, and I'm so pleased that the Blanton Museum of Art is so engaged with the topic. Today we are going to, as usual, spend the first half of the program talking about just some interesting academic or scholarly thoughts that might really intrigue you as someone who uses Midjourney regularly. And I look forward to hearing what you think about that. So we will just wait just a few minutes to let people find the channel, find the way to join. It's possible that you're hearing music behind my voice. It's possible you're not. If you are, please let me know whether it's drowning me out. It's possible that it is. Hold on, let me check, especially on OBS. I should probably check to make sure it's not drowning me out. Oh, let's find out. I'm gonna drop its volume down a little bit, just on the off chance it's drowning me out. I have no idea. I'm not monitoring it. Should I monitor it? No, probably shouldn't. Okay. Well, we'll just have to trust that. Okay. So let me open the chat so I can see the folks who might be joining from someplace other than Discord. Occasionally people join from someplace other than Discord. Generally, no. Generally it's Discord. So welcome. You can see this picture of this book on my screen, The Death of Drawing. Architecture in the Age of Simulation. Is there anyone on this call that has by any chance seen or heard of this book? I'm assuming not. It's sort of an old classic. It didn't get any quieter. Oh, crap. How's that? Oh my gosh, a published date. I didn't look. I took a picture of the outside of it, but not the inside of it. Let me check for you. The Death of Drawing. It was published in, originally, well, it was republished in 2014. Well, or maybe that was its original date. 1984? 2012? So it's not as old as I thought. It's about 10 years old. I thought it was 20 years old. But okay. It's just freaking fascinating. I'm going to talk about it a little bit. Thanks, prompter. Just because it's just such an interesting idea. Avi, let me unmute you. Who else wants to at least have access to their microphone? Doesn't mean that you have to talk. It just, in case you want to have access to your microphone. Oh, you're in the Italian Alps. How fun. I cannot hear you. Yeah, leave and come back. Johnny, let me unmute you. Oh, I can't hear you guys? Well, that's awkward. Let me check my settings. My input device, my output device. Okay, can somebody test again? Okay, hold up. I can do something about this. I got it. I got it. Okay, so okay, somebody talk? No, I'm not deafened. Now somebody talk? No. Fascinating. I don't know what's going on. Okay. Well, I have a solution for this. Yes.
Yeah.
I just solved the problem.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I can hear you guys now.
Oh,
Wow.
Yay.
Bad.
Dancing in my chair. Okay, so who else wants to be unmuted? Well, Collect wants to be unmuted, please. Who doesn't want to? Of course, Collect does. Collect, I miss you when you're not here. It's not yet AI prompter. So we're going to crack open this book that on the surface is about architecture, right? But underneath, it's really about us, and that's what made me so fascinated by it. The book is The Death of Drawing. The Death of Drawing, Architecture in the Age of Simulation by David Ross Scheer. So Scheer was an architect and thinker who noticed something huge, that architects used to design, as Abby will tell us, now that I can hear Abby, used to design by drawing. Every line was a mark on paper, right? Like you actually had rulers and draft desks and layers of different kinds of translucent paper and millions of different plastic stencils to help you draw recurring shapes and different ways of manually tracking proportions and man, and not only that, but those lines were destined to become places, which is pretty major. A lot of people go to architecture the same way people go to surgery, become surgeons, because it's directly impacting reality. It's a sort of power because when your line isn't just a mark on paper, it's a way to manifest ideas, and or make an idea, propose that an idea become sort of concrete so they can be debated. Literally, it holds, those drawings hold the design in a common space. It was architects reified their ideas in ways that a lot of other ideasmens, I don't know what to call them, people who work in idea and design, sometimes weren't able to do. So that was amazing. And then came BIM, building information modeling.
There it came back.
What happened?
You clipped out for a second.
Oh.
Your audio dropped out, for me at least.
Okay, so along came BIM, which is building information modeling. It is like virtual drawing or CAD, but not quite, because a lot of the CAD programs or virtual drawing programs help you draw lines virtually instead of on paper. But building information modeling is a simulation approach. It's wildly different, as Avi says. Buildings are not drawn into existence; they were computed into being. In other words, instead of drawing a window, you select the window object and configure it, and the window object comes pre-configured with archetypal or default characteristics about windows. So you don't have to mess around with any of that. It's a time saver, right? You don't have to worry about all these specifications and knowing all of these things about these materials or about these relationships between these shapes, or what happens if you add a window here. Because it's a simulation, it can extrapolate what happens if you add a window here, and you get this whole ripple effect, and you're basically building the building in a simulation of the world. Help me out here, Abby. So it's not like programming at all. It's like building in Second Life or something.
Yeah, it's like virtual construction.
Yeah, it's like virtual construction, and as you build the building in your virtual world, it's not just building it's not just building like in Minecraft. It's like, imagine when you have an object in Minecraft or whatever, like a door or a window, it's a smart object that knows all the things about.
Which maybe to Prompter's question, maybe that's the analogy to object-oriented programming.
Sure,
I'm not
okay.
super good at programming, but
I mean,
there are elements that you call up over and over, in a sense.
Mm-hmm. And in object-oriented programming, there's this idea that there's a way to refer out to when I say the window knows it's a window. There's a possibly an analogy to object-oriented programming.
Right.
So why should Midjourney users care about all this? Because this exact same shift is happening in art. So artists are used to, you take an implement and you apply it to a piece of paper and you make an idea appear on the paper. But with diffusion, we're actually using our prompts and such to steer simulations of entire latent worlds. We invoke archetypes just like the architects do in BIM. We I'm gonna go more into this idea in just a second. This is the introduction. It's hard for me to stay just introduction mode and not immediately dive. Let me finish the introduction and then I'll do the dive. So Scheer's worry wasn't nostalgia, and he didn't hate technology. I mean, the author of this book, he warned that when authorship shifts from drawing to simulation, then you risk losing track of what kind of control you actually have. And that's like a no-brainer for Midjourney users because, as Prompter just said, it's quite unpredictable. You can just say, an owl in a forest, you get yourself an owl, you get yourself a forest. What kind of control do you actually have? Well, I mean, we all work to break those archetypes, to shift them, to mold them, to give them the details that we want and not the details that are intrinsic to them, right? So he doesn't want anyone to lose track of that. He wants us to work with that idea rather than being blind to that idea. And arguably that's the heart or a heart of what we're grappling with in AI art, which is what counts as human intent when the system is filling in so much of the picture.
I think there's a correlation to BEM. In my experience, the most difficult phase when we're designing in a BEM program is really owning the design, because all the elements that we use, like a wall or a slab or a roof or something, have default settings.
That's right.
And you really have to, I would call those are the archetypes in this case. And you really have to fight against that. And in reality, there's a process back and forth with drawing and thinking and researching and imagery and all these different things to push away from those archetypes in a sophisticated way that actually represents what you have in mind. And some of the most frustrating times are when the program won't do the weird curve that you have in your head, and but you want the damn curve, so you have to figure it out.
Right, so you have to figure it out.
I think it's very similar.
I do too. And so I thought that we could draw some interesting food for thought from looking at this book. I'm not going to recommend you go out and read this book necessarily. Not all of us are readers of books. And it's much easier to, if you're interested in the ideas here, to get your favorite LLM to give you some summaries of it. But yeah, the model doesn't draw your idea. The diffusion model doesn't draw your idea exactly. It predicts a temporal performance of imagery, and it's guided a lot by its own internal logic. So prompting becomes less about, arguably, this is all arguably, that prompting becomes less about representing vision and more about nudging a simulation engine. So there's an authority shift, right? In architecture, architects lose authority to the BIM system itself and to its consultants, because BIM, Abby might be able to tell us that, BIM feels like a mysterious black box that you're sort of fighting with a little bit. And then people who really know BIM, like technical consultants, can come in and help you. And so that's an interesting shift, that someone who is actually giving you software support is helping, is in some tertiary or secondary way helping design a building, which kind of blows my mind. And go ahead.
That's my job every day, kind of.
You're the BIM, the one who understands it? You're the one who understands it?
Yeah, so I teach BEM. I mean, we use ArchiCAD, you know, and I'm teaching that every day. And like, for example, we have 3 new hires. And so I'm teaching them this program that has this technical side to it that's super robust and intense. And you have to understand it in a technical way. But in order, again, kind of back to what we were saying before, in order to know what it is you're trying to accomplish, you have to understand architecture and design. And so I end up really teaching both at once, even if I'm not on the project team.
All right. So you're making my point for me there. Authority issues or control. Do you need control, or isn't the point of diffusion is the point to lose control? Oh, Promptogram, what a fantastic question. Maybe the point is, I mean, if you're feeling kind of post-human or transhuman and you embrace the idea that that is that Collex? I knew it was Collex X. And you know, as a how did I want to say this? As an artist, you are looking for a way to have your ideas diffused and your ideas shifted and your ideas nudged and your ideas fought with. Like, that itself could be a productive experience for some people, Collect. So for some people, the point of using Midjourney might be, or the intriguing part might be that they don't have perfect control. So, thank you. Promptogram is Collect is not that guy. Collect is not the person who is here to do that. But yeah. So, I guess, I mean, the gut punch in Scheer's book is, you know, you can hear him whispering, "Don't let drawing die." And then a decade later, AI systems are out here proving him right in Technicolor. Like, that's the simulation of latent worlds, or whatever you want to call that, what we're doing. That's the exact nightmare he sketched. In BIM, architects stopped drawing walls and started simulating building behavior. Right? And in diffusion, you stopped drawing ideas and you started steering a statistical hallucination of a whole visual world. That's what Midjourney does for us, is a statistical hallucination, you know, and a statistical meaning it's a math mind that strongly prioritizes dominant representations. And so it believes it's almost like it has strong beliefs that certain things are things. Unicorns are things with horns. Unicorns are things with horns. Cowboys have hats. If you say cowboys have hats, you know, we've really got to take a beat of and it takes a trick to get the cowboy without a hat. You might have to avoid using the word cowboy, and so on. The AI doesn't draw, you know, a fox with a sword. It runs a simulation of what fox with sword would statistically look like. And that's Scheer's epistemological fear, right? That once simulation becomes the medium, the architect or the artist loses primacy. And, you know, I wondered, you know, is he missing the point? Collect, you might appreciate this. Like the driver of a car, Collect. We are telling the car how to move through the world. We are telling Midjourney what to do. Yeah, sure, Midjourney does the moving, it assigns the pixel values. We're not doing that with a Apple Pencil ourselves. But the pixel values are still assigned. And maybe we are but passengers, but we're still... In a car, we are but passengers, right? I'm doing bunny ears. You can't see me do this. We are but passengers in a car, but we're still considered in control. When we talk about cars and driving, no one says, the authority or primacy of the human has been shifted, because you're not walking anymore. We, for some reason, do not speak of cars that way. So why not for this too? Why not present? Why not feel like we are the driver? We are, as a prompter, as an artist using Midjourney is a tool, the way the car is a tool that gets us from A to B. And, you know, and we're still doing the thing. We're still the artist. It's just a different method by which the colors and lines are realized. So I think Scheer would concede there's a case to be made for the driver metaphor. Well, Promptogram, you're going to have a fight with Collect in just a minute. Why not be a passenger? Because AI is a better driver. Yeah, right now, Promptogram on September 2025, that AI is still not a better driver. We're working on it. So I think your question is going to become increasingly relevant. But Abhi, I think the architect still initiates the project brief and still chooses what to simulate and still sets the parameters and still interprets the outputs. And, you know, the architect still has a lot to do with BIM. So it's hard. It might be hard to feel when you're immersed, Abhi, in working with BIM. Maybe, I mean, do architects generally feel like their primacy has been shifted, or is it more like a relationship with a car where you still feel like you're a driver and in control?
I mean, I think it's a mental shift for folks as they transition from 2D to 3D. It's a total mindset. I mean, as an office, it took us probably a good 5 years to have that mindset shift, and like really understanding where the shift in control is. I think any thoughtful designer and skilled designer can take any tool. The way I try to lead technology in my office is trying my best to make the technology actually invisible, so that you feel like fluid enough that your ideas can come forth and you're not encumbered by the tool. And that could be the same for drawing as well. I mean, honestly, like, I can't draw animals or people to save my life. I could replicate from a photograph, but I can't just sit and draw it. And so it's not fluent, it's not invisible. And if I want a giraffe, I'm hampered by that. So I see it as being very, very similar, even if it's an advanced technology.
Very good. And I think in both cases, architecting or prompting, the human is rhetorically positioned as the driver of the process. The car may be a sort of an automated form of walking, if you want. I mean, if walking is somehow more pure, but the route and the destination and the interpretation of the journey, if as you will, are really, they are ours. They are ours. And Scheer himself notes that technology does not erase design intent. But he's just obsessing about that it reconfigures the locus of agency. Quote, it reconfigures the locus of agency. So I think Collect would argue, he hasn't said a thing, but I'm just totally predicting that he would say, architects and prompters, or architects and artists, retain control by choosing, you know, how when and how to enter and exit the quote simulation, the use of the tool, and what's happening in it. And, you know, I mean, it makes no sense in one way to sweat this locus of agency thing, unless you're going to sweat cars and, you know, chairs. Like, chairs are a way of automating keeping our ass off the ground. I mean, did we lose the agency of sittingness? You know, or yeah, you know what I mean. I don't know. I'm trying to exaggerate the issue in order to make it more clear. But okay. But Scheer's sharper point is that the control in these systems, and Bobby just said this too, the control is qualitatively different from the steering wheel metaphor. I'm trying to be serious here. I'm not at all trying to be serious.
I'm going to start keeping a list of quotes. I really wish I'd been doing this for the last couple years.
Okay. In drawing, the architect was literally inscribing intent onto paper. So Scheer would say he was literally making lines that embodied ideas. But in the simulation in BIM, the architect inputs data and the system produces outputs governed by rules outside the architect's hand. And so the authority shifts subtly but decisively from representation to computation. So if we buy that, then my defense that it's more like driving a car or sitting in a chair becomes misleading, because a driver knows the car obeys physical mechanics that are transparent and predictable, and a BIM system or a diffusion model operates on hidden logics and abstractions. I'm quoting here. Hello, my name is Clarinet, and this is Promptcraft Live. Operates on hidden logics and abstractions. There we go. The human doesn't fully access. So in this framing, we're closer to passengers in an autonomous vehicle. Someone just said that. In like a what are they called? What is the name of the autonomous vehicle? Starts with a W. Oh, anyway, they're all over Austin. I can't remember what they're called.
Oh, Waymo.
Thank you, Waymo. I was about to say Wegovy, and I was like, no, that's that drug. Waymo vehicle, right? And so we can request a destination. Collect. We can request a destination like WAYMO is a fully autonomous vehicle that there is no driver in the seat at all. But it works like a taxi. You get in the back of a Waymo and you give it directions, and it takes you someplace, but it only works in very small areas of town. Like in Austin, the University of Texas at Austin has very grid-like predictable set of streets, and so within like a 16-block radius, you can take a Waymo from A to B because the streets are very well mapped. And the Waymo, if you ever look at one, they're insane. They have what looks like a jumbo siren on the top of their head, on the top of the roof, but it's not a siren. What's spinning in there, it's translucent and black. And what's spinning in there is a bunch of cameras. And then they also have sensors bristling on all of their sides and corners. Yeah, and in the case of a campus where, you know, I went yesterday for reasons, and full of pedestrians, you know, a bunch of 20-year-olds just listening to their headphones and holding their backpacks and spaced out and barely paying attention to any of the signals to cross or whatever. And in those cases, if someone's going to step in front of a vehicle, the inattention of a human being whose eyes might be shifted slightly to the left at that point and not notice the young woman stepping into the, I almost said little girl because I'm old, the young woman stepping onto the street, that moment of inattention in a human driver, and when we drive, we have billions of moments of inattention, but it can actually kill someone when you have 50,000 students moving around on these sidewalks. A Waymo cannot possibly have a moment of inattention. Yeah, it's also LiDAR. And so a Waymo, I would say, is statistically, it's nearly impossible for it to accidentally hit someone.
Statistically, but then it does.
Not as
frequently as a person.
Not as frequently as a person, like exponentially less often than a person, first of all. than a
Yeah.
human driver, and also as the technology improves, that becomes almost a negligible, like hardly worth mentioning unless you're fear mongering. And also they work in very well mapped limited areas. They're not just running all over the place. So I'm pro Waymo in some situations. I have found that at first I was like, no way, not Waymo, but now I'm beginning to see it. But right, so Scheer starts worrying that there are hidden logics and abstractions that the human doesn't fully access, right, in diffusion. And so that means actually Midjourney is more like an autonomous vehicle. And so what kind of driver are we? We're still in the car, but the steering wheel is no longer mechanically linked to the wheels. It's more like a prompt is a joystick sending signals to a black box. And so that rhetoric of control, there's a deeper epistemological shift, right? That an agency is distributed. It's not centered in the human anymore. But the first thing I thought to myself, if there's an epistemological shift and agency is distributed and not centered in the human anymore, is that even bad news? I mean, why does this author, why does he sweat it so much? Why is he like, oh no? Isn't that transhuman or posthuman? So I don't think Scheer would say, Scheer is the author, I keep saying that. Scheer, I don't think he would say it's purely bad. I don't think he's Nostradamus wailing on the death of culture or something. I do think his concern is epistemological. When agency becomes, how do I say this? When agency becomes distributed between human and machine, can we say that about Midjourney? Is the agency distributed? Is it? I mean, I'm not trying to say that it is. I'm asking. The idea would be, if it's distributed between human and machine, then we lose clarity about what kind of knowledge is being produced or what kind of art is being produced and by whom. So if architects... Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I'm thinking about a drawing, CAD, BIM, Midjourney, or any other AI, what you're attempting to represent, or even a photograph. What you're attempting to represent, it's still just an approximation of the representation. So you'll never get absolutely the thing. I mean, people would argue even reality is an approximation. Reality as we know it. But so it's like, I'm thinking about giving up agency. I mean, in my mind, the conversation has more to do with this lack of being fluid and a fear of losing control more than maybe a reality that's true. I'm not sure if that makes sense.
Like a fear of sleepwalking into dependence on the tool, but it's just a fear.
Correct. Yeah, because I've been having this conversation every day for 18 years with people in the professional world, and I think a lot of it is fear-based, and once you learn the tool, and you can accept it or not, but once you learn the tool and you understand the capabilities, then you have a new way of seeing what your agency is.
So you don't see it as, Scheer would say it's dangerous in a disciplinary sense. You wouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
You
No,
don't think
I
so?
don't think so. It's different.
Okay.
Right, as Himbo said, yeah, you'll never feel what the real building is like. I mean, we keep trying to get closer, right? A rendering, VR is huge. It's still not the same. It's always an approximation.
So is it transhuman? I mean, if we define transhuman as humans extending their capabilities through tech, then yes, Scheer could be read that way. BIM lets architects simulate airflow and loads and clashes and things that are impossible to sketch by hand.
Yeah.
And AI art lets us simulate styles and lenses and movements and anything really at all beyond our potential individual craft or skills. So in this sense, human capacity is amplified. So maybe we're off center. In other words, maybe we're not moving the pen, but we're bigger because we're using this tool to move the pen. So we're augmented. We're augmented and made greater if you're a transhuman kind of thinker. Our agency runs through the machine, but us plus the machine may be decentralized agency, but a greater outcome somehow. But I don't know what greater or lesser, what spectrum that is. But a transhumanist would say that addition, or multiplication of human plus artist plus Midjourney is maybe the human is now in partner with a machine, but that hybrid being that made the art is a greater being, and that art may depending on what it is, what the art is, could be just as powerful.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, certainly in certain fields, and the depth of technology use is always a choice. You know, we have to remember that nobody's being really forced into anything at this point. Yeah, like the kind of like tagline for the technology initiative in my office, which is an architecture firm. If that's not clear, hopefully that is to everybody.
Hi, Abby is an architect, everyone. Abby is an architect. Okay.
I'm an architect and I lead the technology, we call it design technology for the office. But the kind of tagline for that initiative, because we take it very seriously, is augmenting the process of design. So it's not speaking to an ultimate output in a sense, but the entire process.
Excellent. And so, the next question is it post-human? I mean, obviously it's post-human. That's where Scheer's worry is, right? That's when the human is no longer the primary site of agency. Transhuman would say, who cares? We've got something better now. You don't need to be the primary site of agency. Relax, dude. But Scheer is concerned about, he wants humans to keep their primary agency. He doesn't want the simulation to be an actor in its own right and shaping decisions and values and outcomes. And he would be so mad at the people who are not collect, where you give in to the simulation. Midjourney draws a thing that isn't what you want, and you just go, cool, that actually looks better than what I thought. Like Scheer is really worried about that. Scheer is worried that I don't know. Here's what bothers me about it. He wants us to be the primary site of agency, but when we use our agency to say the outcome of diffusion is worthy, then he goes, oh no! I'm like, dude, if you trust us with agency, why not trust us with choosing what the diffusion produces? I mean, sure, the diffusion is just the statistical logics. Then the statistical logics of the model can outweigh the prompter's meaning. We talk about that all the time. That's what archetypes are. The statistical logics of the model can outweigh the prompter's meaning. And so our agency is not just extended, it's sometimes sort of relocated into the system. It's I don't know how you want to think about that. Maybe we're just a node and not the center. And if we can be trusted to be the primary site of agency, then can't we be trusted to work as well with the system, with the model? So here's this little quote of what he. A little quote: the danger is not that architects will vanish, but they will misrecognize themselves as still at the center when in fact they are now participants in a network of agencies, computational, material, and human, none of which can be disentangled. And to translate that for us, the danger is not that artists will vanish, but they will misrecognize themselves as still at the center when in fact they are now participants in a network of diffusion models and AI, none of which can be disentangled. But, what is the risk in practical terms? I mean, this feels like existential angst to me. Does it feel like existential angst to anyone else? Just like, oh no. A little bit? Is that what he said?
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
there's a nostalgia.
A little bit.
Little bit.
But Scheer would say that the risk isn't just existential hand-wringing, it shows up in practice. Okay, so this is where I thought it got interesting. When prompters misrecognize themselves as still at the center, when we feel like, nah, that like I do, like I feel like, no, I'm totally using a tool. I'm still at the center of this. Midjourney, I mean, sure, Midjourney doesn't always do what I want, but neither does an oil paint, and neither does, any given medium has its own properties and attributes, and those properties and attributes will get in the way of my, holding dominion, over it. And I'm not even sure holding dominion is what I should be doing. But if Scheer wants me to talk about holding dominion, we'll do that, and so I'm not worried about it. But he says, what if we believe as I believe? What if we believe that Midjourney is nothing more than a type of a really complicated type of paint that doesn't always go where we want it to? What if we do not believe that agency is shifted into a network of tools and models and simulations? Well, first of all, he's worried that decision making gets outsourced. Now, I don't know whether that's a bad thing in art. I mean, if decision making gets outsourced, I mean, with drawing, every line was an intentional human decision. With diffusion, many decisions are made by the model and its embedded assumptions and algorithms and tendencies and so on. So the risk is you think that you made this canvas yourself using Midjourney as a tool, but really you accepted the system's built-in logic. Really, you accepted what little you could do to manipulate some archetypes. Like, it's not like oil paint that sometimes disobeys you. It's more like an entire animal that doesn't obey you. And if you're on a horse and you keep telling the horse to go around the barrel and the horse keeps going straight, and then you decide that going straight is what you wanted anyway, it's almost like that's like sour grapes and not art. Why is it bad? Yeah, it's a good question. Evaluation, it might be bad. It depends, Promptogram. If decision making gets outsourced and you're making a piece of art, then it's just intriguing that the decision making was not all yours. If you are making a children's hospital because you're an architect and you're building a children's hospital and some sort of decision making gets outsourced, and then all the windows are slightly too high for any child to ever look out of because some human forgot to take care to place windows differently because it's a children's hospital. You know what I mean? Like because the archetypal window is at a certain height. And so if you design a children's hospital with BIM, you might end up with a bunch of windows that decision of window placement got outsourced, and we trust BIM to just it looks fine, and instead you have in a building that no child can look out any window, right? So that would be a terrible outcome because it's a giant physical building in LA or something and with kids in it, and like that would make it bad. But in the world of art, maybe not. Tell me more about that, Avi.
I'm being a little facetious here, but I think in the architecture community, there's actually a lot of discussion about like, when is AI going to take over our jobs, right? Like in every sector, there's fears, and and a lot of people are trying to solve this problem of text to BIM, and there's really crude examples, but it is outsourcing at the moment. It is outsourcing decisions in a way that would not be desirable. I mean, chances are it'll get there eventually. I don't know.
You just mean now in September 2025, it might make a shitty children's hospital. It might. It actually might. Okay.
Pretty much guaranteed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that he's worried about that, and so that makes me want to tell Scheer, like, it's the death of drawing in architecture in the age of simulation when you wrote the book. Not the age of simulation ultimately, right? Because we can fix a lot of what he's sweating over. But let me talk about this. Let me talk about, for just a second, especially to Promptogram. Have you ever, how do I say this? Okay, so diffusion, Promptogram, foregrounds statistical plausibility and coherence. That's the word statistical is being used instead of archetypal. Diffusion foregrounds statistical plausibility and coherence. So the risk is, and I'm actually gonna paste this one in, but from my notes. Hold on, let me see if I can do this. Oh God, I hope it still makes sense. I don't format very well. The risk is the system's criteria overshadows human ones. So cultural symbolism or aesthetic nuance can get crowded out. And I had to pause when I hit this part because I have tried, and I know Symvolia has tried, and I know, and maybe some other of us have tried to actually do something, make a deep image with Midjourney, like to try to symbolize, a flag, or some other things, some very specific things that we might want to talk about, maybe text or a Chinese character or a flag or a particular military costume from a particular point in history, and we're trying to say something. We're trying to place a symbol, or we need it to look a certain way, and doing any of that is impossible in Midjourney. So the system's criteria really can overshadow the human ones, insofar as there are certain things that we can't come to Midjourney to do. There are some artistic visions that cannot be realized with Midjourney. And for me, I thought to myself, well, then don't use Midjourney for that. like I'm not sure that the fact that Midjourney can't handle it is a risk more than affecting tool choices. Like if it's just really hard to do in Photoshop, then don't use Photoshop. If it's much easier to do it, if you can only do it in Midjourney because you don't have the skill to do it any other way, then maybe it's time to work with a instead of partnering with an AI, partner with a human artist and get that done. If you don't yourself have the skill, are you losing agency when you collaborate with an artist to get a work done? I don't know. Also, Scheer was really upset that the simulation's output comes from black box processes. I thought that was interesting, but let me go back. There was one thing I wanted to say. We're almost out of time for this section of the talk. Oops. What is going on here? How weird. Okay. Sorry, guys. Withdrawing, Scheer says, every line is an intentional human decision. Abby, you'll love this. The human is in absolute control when they're moving the pencil across the page. It's an intentional human decision. The human has vastly more agency than when he is working with BIM, right? Here's what I said, Abby. Yeah, the human being with the pencil, the draftsman who is drawing the building, or the artist who is drawing, I don't know, whatever the artist is drawing, is doing it himself without his agency compromised by a tool like Midjourney, but his decisions are still saturated by immersion in culture and politics, which are like analog forces that replicate the effect of decisions made by defaults, embedded assumptions, etc. So in other words, even the draftsman who draws the line himself is still steeped in rules nudging what he must draw or what he will draw.
Yeah, that's true. That makes sense. I mean, we're all shaped by so many influences. We think it's we're in
We
control,
think it's
and
us.
we're
We
not, in a
think,
sense.
right, or even just the client. I mean, so drawing appears to locate agency clearly in the architect's hands, but those lines are never purely autonomous. Those lines are saturated by education and conventions of orthographic projection. I mean, somewhat obviously, or cultural aesthetics, or political mandates, or client demands. There's a whole ecology of norms, and that's what diffusion has too. And diffusion AI is brain-like, and we are brain-like, and we operate in an ecology of norms, and Midjourney operates in an ecology of norms. So, I don't know, man.
Yeah, that's a super interesting thing. I mean, I think the agency is in two sides of it, right? Like there is this side of how we're shaped, and then the other side, even in a more purely technical sense, is like, do we have agency about how the graphite goes on the paper? Only to some degree, right? And the agency that we have is choosing a graphite pencil versus an oil pastel. and we're choosing it for the mark that we want to make. And so therefore we can choose, like I choose Midjourney for the mark that I want it to make versus DALL-E. That's my personal choice. So I don't know. I think drawing like with a pencil has such a simplicity to it that it makes it easy to point to, especially in a nostalgic sense. But yeah, we always have some loss of agency due to the tools that we use.
Mm-hmm.
And on the flip side, tons of agency if we choose to see it and not rebel against it.
What do you mean by rebel?
Like rebelling against the changing tools, you know. If you can embrace something and learn about it, then you can figure out how to use it to your advantage.
Okay.
Sort of, I see the rebellion as just kind of like a just an internal resistance to
It's resistance,
to change. Yeah. New.
Yeah. So, no line was ever pure in the first place. But Scheer's worry is that with diffusion or simulation or whatever, the cultural saturation shifts from exposed rules of representation. I don't know why he finds them to be exposed, to buried logics of computation. The architect or the prompter risks losing sight of the biases because they're not literally drawn in front of us anymore. I don't think that's true. I mean, one of the things Scheer is worried about is that it's harder to contest a hidden algorithm. And I keep saying, but it's not hidden to every human. It's not a black box to every human. There are whole industries or fields of humans who do understand BIM or diffusion. And furthermore, humans are always using tools they don't have full expertise on themselves. We use toasters and vacuum cleaners, and those are black boxes to us. So why not just be just as relaxed about it in this context? No tool is ever fully transparent, right? People happily use machines they don't understand. The toaster doesn't become a political crisis just because you don't know the metallurgy of the coils. But he would say, let's see if I can find my notes. Hold on, I'm scrolling through a bunch of stuff to find myself. It would be the children's hospital thing that I said earlier. That he would say back to me. He would say, level 1 is the toaster, physical opacity. What's hidden? Maybe you don't know about the metallurgy or the circuits or the resistors, but who cares? Who cares? Almost nobody. You press the button, bread gets warm. The stakes are convenience. The worst case, burnt toast. Scheer's lens. This is a black box of mechanics, but it doesn't mediate knowledge. You don't need to understand thermodynamics to still be the author of your breakfast, right? Level 2, though, BIM is disciplinary opacity. So what's hidden? Algorithms for energy load, clash detection, performance simulations, okay? Architects, who cares? Architects care, but consultants and software engineers often control the levers. So the stakes, what are the stakes? He would say design intent gets filtered through system defaults. A hospital might end up, the children's hospital thing I talked about, simply because that was what the model prioritized, was the archetypal window, and therefore you have a children's hospital and no children can use the windows. Scheer says that's a black box of design knowledge. It doesn't just heat bread. It sets the criteria for what counts as a good building. And the opacity matters because it shifts authority from the architect's drawing to the system simulation, and mistakes can be made. And Avi, who had to step AFK, but she already told us that's true. And then level 3 would be diffusion. It would be what we do with Midjourney. What's hidden from us in theory? Statistical priors. training data, latent space mechanics. That's what's hidden from us. Statistical priors, that would be archetypes. Training data, the precise inputs that Midjourney learned from. Latent space mechanics, what are all the different widgets that the Midjourney conglomeration of things, because Midjourney isn't just one thing, it's a conglomeration of many different functions that operates. To us, it looks like here's a prompt, we get a picture, but actually there's a bunch of agents running when we send a prompt. So who cares that we can't see that? Well, artists and prompters and audiences probably don't care. Researchers and engineers really grasp the guts. But he would say the stake is that creative intent can be overridden by statistical plausibility. Creative intent can be overwritten by archetypes. Your fox with a sword isn't drawn from your imagination, but assembled from a probabilistic swarm of fox sword worlds or archetypes. I'm going to paste that in because I thought that was really interesting. So Scheer's lens, I'm going to paste this one in too because I thought this was an interesting thing and you might want to look at it with your own eyeballs. This is a black box of cultural production. He's absolutely convinced that you're being duped into feeling like you're in control.
I mean, yeah. You can make things that nobody else would have thought to make. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, obviously. I'm not sure he's a dum-dum, but I am sure that I don't understand the ultimate risk. I mean, what are we taking away from David Ross Scheer and the death of drawing? I mean, Scheer shows us that architecture changed when it stopped being about drawing and became about simulation. And that same tension is alive in Midjourney. Are we still drawing? Or are we just riding inside a simulation, nudging a canvas from the passenger seat? The practical risk Scheer flagged is when the medium shifts, the center of authorship shifts. Drawing made bias visible. You could point to a column or a symmetry or a gesture and argue with it. But simulation buries those biases in defaults and code and data. It's harder to see and it's harder to contest. And it's easier to forget who's really steering. I think that's definitely a point of ignorance because he doesn't know how much we have argued with the defaults. Like when we said we can't make, why do all overweight people look this way? How come I can't get a person of color? How come how come men are not represented equally with women? How come, we can't, how come we can't prompt a dragon? How come we can't prompt a lobster? These things were things we contested, were biases that we saw. We perceived the biases. Why? Because we're fighting with them all the time. So Scheer wanted us to have some sort of wake-up call, a message for us as AI artists. Stay alert. Don't confuse access to Midjourney with authorship of art. Don't mistake the car's autopilot for your own hand on the wheel. It's not you, guys. That's what he wants to say. It's not you. It's Midjourney doing it. Don't be fooled.
I mean, yeah.
You know,
Does he think we're making physical paintings out of this? I mean, yeah, not. I mean, this is an older book, so he's not talking about AI, but he's, yeah. I don't know.
I mean, he warned that architects would lose control when simulation replaced drawing.
Right.
But he also made it sound like the sky was falling, when really it's more like just like the weather's changing, right? Here we are, we're still making things, we're still shaping culture, we're still steering the car. I mean, if the steering wheel is connected to a bunch of code instead of a crankshaft, that's okay, we're still steering the car. So I feel like he might have been clutching his pencil and muttering kids these days. You know, I mean, his book forces us to ask a question that matters for AI art. You know, is prompting still drawing? I don't think we ever claimed it was. Or is it just simulation management? I think the answer is it is neither or both. And, you know, if that question annoys you, then yeah, I think that's important too. Absolutely. So that brings us to the end of the first hour. Basically a book of a guy yelling at clouds, possibly, or perhaps more maybe he wasn't yelling at clouds, maybe he had a really good point and I'm just arrogant to feel the way I feel about Midjourney. It was 10 years ago, so he did not know that AI was coming.
Or understand the nuances that it's
or understand the nuances or know how we would really react to it or anything. But I just thought you guys would be like fascinated for a whole book that was really a kind of about what we do, sort of thing. His points are pretty trash. His points are pretty what's the word? Academic. They're academic. In other words, academic, which is a kinder, more flattering way of saying moot. His points are moot. His points are academic. I'm not very impressed with existential stakes. As when someone says, well, there's existential risk. I'm like, I don't understand existential risk. Does anyone else understand existential risk? I mean, being alive is an existential risk. I don't understand. I'm probably just ignorant as hell here. I'm not well educated enough to contend with some of the ideas I introduce. Anyway,
using doesn't make me feel less when I use, feel more or feel more capable. Yeah. Feels like he feels like people will. Maybe I guess I don't even know if he says they won't even recognize that they are less. But anyway, I don't feel that way when I'm using.
I don't feel that way. Here's one observation I'll make as someone who was around before the internet existed. Mm-hmm. When we first started. All right, wait, hold up. I'm gonna give you some context for this because it's important. Let me go to Amazon. Let me go to this. Okay. I don't know if you guys know this book. I just closed the window. I'm so professional. Okay. Right. So this book, and the conferences that were held around this time that this book was released, which was 89, 90, 91 by MIT Press. People had a lot of ideas, just like Scheer had a lot of ideas of how things would go and how things would end up. Okay. And to give you more context, this book is my father's book. I was around and involved when the book was written. I was around and involved when the conferences were held, and he recently passed away. And now I've inherited about, I don't know, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, maybe 28 files, each one about as thick as a Bible, full of, I mean, thick as Oxford English Dictionary thick files. Just like when they're stacked together, they were about 5 feet tall of files. And all of them are all of the proposals and papers submitted to the conferences and to be included in this book. Not all of them were accepted. Most, of course, were rejected. But there they are in these files, and I pulled some out just randomly, and I just skimmed through them. And do you remember what the internet was like in 1991? Show of hands who was around on the internet in 1991. Were you online in 1991?
I was not. 95 for me.
No. Okay, thank you, Collect. Gally was. 91. I was 88, 89. So I was around for a while in 91, and I had friendships built in early or even quote pre-internet online friendships. And one of the things that we did all the time was embodiment. The most embodiment we do now on the internet is emojis. And Collect, I once talked to Collect about embodiment, and he said it's incredibly cringe now. Do you guys know what I mean by embodiment? Would you get out of the trash, please, you freaking alley cat? That's Bear. My cat has a, oh my God. My cat has an obsession with crinkly plastic, and if there's any in a garbage can, he's pulled some out. I have to pick it up with he's found like a Capri Sun straw covering, which is like, crinkly. Incredibly cringe 15 years ago. Yeah, but it wasn't incredibly cringe 25 years ago. Okay, so sit down, young man. No, it wasn't when we had super simple avatars. It was when we had no avatars. And if you wanted to embody yourself, we also had, by the way, no emojis. We invented emojis. I am of the generation of people who invented these things. Right, what Gally's doing. Okay. But embodiment went beyond because these emoticons is what they were called at the time. Emoticons, text that represents faces. No, Westendorf, that's even later. The stuff where people say, like this sort of thing, or
Yeah.
That's embodiment. You're right. You know, using stuff like
talking in a hush or something instead of.
Right. Let me do. Let's see if I can do this. Like this sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But we didn't do that. That's AOL. AOL was later. What we had was something called posing. And posing was, let's see, in later years it was the me command, but in early years it was just a single colon. And if you did a single colon, walks in and waves like this, if I typed this, I have a point, I promise, then you would see on your screen, whoops, you'd see that. And therefore I could type this, and whoops, I could type that, and you would see that. But what does that look like? It looks like you're writing a novel, right? It's a third person present tense presentation of self, and you embodied yourself that way. So you would write whole paragraphs, you know.
My first Friendster posts were third person.
Your first what post?
Not Friendster, Facebook.
Oh, your first Facebook post. Well, it was very popular on Usenet news groups too. People there's such a thing called Callahan's Tavern. And in Callahan's Tavern, the news group was not a place that you posted like Reddit. It was a place where imagine the people of Reddit decided that this place, the /Callahan's subreddit, was actually a place, and it had a look, and you could look at maps of it, and there were places on the left and right and middle and center, and you could locate yourself in that space, and you could talk to people, but you wouldn't be able to hear the people across the room, right? And you would do that, and everyone would agree to those rules, and you would embody that in text. So your posts were the same as usual. Your posts would be like, I found this strange thing in my grandma's attic and I don't know what it is. Can anyone tell me? You know, here's a picture. But you would say it by saying, you know, Collect walks into the tavern and hangs his hat on the rack. He walks up to the bar and orders a Shirley Temple, turns around and leans back against the bar and sips from a Shirley Temple and looks around with narrowed eyes. Can anyone here help me with something I found in my grandma's attic? He asked, stirring the ice cubes with his straw. And then he would post it. And then somebody else would say, Josh follows Collect's entrance with his eyes while sipping his red wine. Josh puts his wine down on the table, adjusts his ascot and walks across the wooden floors to Collect. Smiles and says, I know a lot about he says, admiring Collect's choice of beverage. Well, it sounds like a lot of work, but there was nothing else on the internet. There was no distribution of focus. We were coming from a position of having to. There was no email. People wrote letters. People wrote stories. That's what people did. And it was better than going outside. It was better than confronting people in real social situations. But here's the thing. Cyberspace First Steps, 1991, okay? Cyberspace conferences. Everyone was getting incredibly into what's going to happen with cyberspace. People were writing about virtual reality as experience on demand. Experience on demand was like, experience on demand was an acronym. Let's see, experience on demand, which now means end of document to us. But experience on demand, that was virtual reality. That was what they thought was going to happen. That you could, that you'd eventually go to the Library of Congress, and not only would you be able to read about the Angel Waterfall in, where's the Angel Waterfall? Shit. Brazil?
No, Africa.
Africa. You not only would you be able to read about it, but you would also be able to just don a helmet real quick and just have a quick Angel waterfall experience on demand, and then go, oh, I see, or whatever, fill in the blank. I don't know why I picked the Angel Waterfall. Venezuela. Okay, somebody Googled that. So that didn't happen. Nor did all the extrapolations from the way we were embodied happen. That all of the beautiful ideas that the people of the cyberspace 1991 cyberspace folks had about cyberspace, very few of them were realized. The internet went a completely different direction. The internet became a commercial, corporate-driven, giant, complicated, smart billboard that sold you things and you bought things. And finding places like Discord or whatever is complicated and weird, and nobody used the internet to connect with other people until the COVID pandemic finally made everyone realize that they might have to talk to people online. Right? They had this incredibly well-informed at the time, beautiful vision that went nowhere. Similarly, we are here at the edge of AI, and for me, it's like another experience. Like, oh, I saw the internet go from nothing to this, and now I'm seeing AI go from nothing to, I hesitate to say, because my experience with being on the edge of internet ideation tells me that it really doesn't matter what all of the cerebral people like all of us, philosophical people, whatever we are, whatever we think is going to happen, whatever the artists think, whatever the thinkers think, it's unlikely that that's going to be the thing that happens. If the internet taught us anything, it's that whatever makes money and sells things is going to happen to AI. So all of this talk from David Scheer or whatever about the sure, Loki, I know a lot of people have to run, no problem. All of the concerns we have about agency and is it really art and so on. Part of me is just like, I've got my hand on my forehead and I'm just shaking my head a little, and I'm just like, what is money is going to happen. And I don't know if I'm being smart or cynical about that. So did Scheer know what he was talking about? No, 10 years ago, he was like, oh my God, but you know what happened? Something he never expected, AI. All the cyberspace folks here were absolutely, convinced that the trajectories were clear and that such and such would happen. None of them understood where the trajectories would take us. Science fiction writers famously did not see the internet coming. And then when the internet came, all the writers here, this involves William Gibson and Bruce Sterling and all of the great futurists of the time, none of them got it right. So, yeah, this is Promptcraft Live. Thank you for joining if you've just joined us. Promptcraft Live! This is podcast-like in the first half, or in this case, in the first half, or hour and a half. I'm so sorry. Collect, what do you mean? What's Web 2? Can you talk? You're typing. Okay, I'll also ask ChatGPT just to fill it in. Excuse me for a moment while I open this window and lose agency. Ah, shit, I'm in the thinking. Clack can type faster than ChatGPT can think. Internet before the commercialization of everything. I remember the internet before the commercialization of everything. I don't remember that it was called Web 2. Also know that the current version of the internet is dominated by companies that offer services in exchange for personal data. Contrast, Web 3 refers to decentralized, running on the blockchain where users can participate. Oh, I love it. Web 3 sounds nice. Are we in Web 3?
Yes.
That's exciting. Wendy, are you unmuted?
Oh, yeah, I think as I was.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. Okay. Wait, you hearing you is what made me ask you that. That's the stupidest thing. Okay.
Are you asleep?
Exactly.
Was I tutting?
Okay, I know what you're talking about, and just because I'm the academic scholarly one of in the group. Enshittification, the name, the fancy scholar name for enshittification is Gresham's Law. If you ever want to look that up, which probably no one will, but anyway, that's what it's called. If you ever want to sound fancy, I like to say enshittification too, but if you ever want to sound fancy, you can call it Gresham's Law, and then everyone will go like, oh, somebody reads a book, I don't know what's going on here. But anyway, so what is this emoji? What is it? Is this a cat sitting?
Kawaii cat, yeah.
He's nodding. Oh, there he goes. He wasn't animating. He wasn't animating on my screen. He was just sitting there. I was like, what does it mean? Okay, Gresham's Law. Right. Anyway, do you guys want to talk about Midjourney maybe? I mean, about using Midjourney, not about philosophical or intellectual or cerebral stuff. I always, whenever I introduce that stuff, I think, of course, they're going to be just as fascinated as I am. And then I'm like, oh, there's only 17 people on the call. Well, did I make a bad call on that one? But thanks for sticking with me, Promptogram and Josh and Johnny and Collect. You guys had some amazing, I couldn't follow all of the amazing conversation you guys were having while I was talking. Is there still music playing in the background? I can't hear.
Yes.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, has it been keeping things like on a nice vibe?
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Sure. No dead air.
Good. I had to.
Not that there really was anyway.
I had to mute it because I could either hear all of you guys or I could hear that music.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I'm playing chill royalty-free music. That's the name of the playlist. So I'm not,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not hurting anyone's.
Stepping on any toes.
It's not stepping on any toes. That's right. So what, does anyone have any prompting questions? Prompting questions, Midjourney questions? Projects you're working on? You guys know that on Monday the 15th, Kentridge with the Blanton Museum of Art is coming back to talk to us.
Oh yeah.
Do you guys remember, were any of you here when she was here the first time?
I was.
It was a pretty cool discussion.
Mm.
And I was like, are you sure you want to come back? Because I was like fighting you. Because yeah. Well, what she's going to talk about is, because how we left it was, well, it's kind of, I'm not sure how relevant it will be and where the conversation will actually go, but one of the things that she said, what she urged is, if AI art wants to be considered, then you guys have to stop making foxes with swords and cool racing cars and whatever, you know. I mean, you should still make those things, but if when you're ready to make art, real art, as she would say, because she believes there's such thing as real art, she will die on that hill. There's such thing as real art. Most of what she sees coming out of Midjourney isn't. It could be if. So yeah, collect. It's not great for Euro folks. Discovering every SRF code to collect all my favorites, but not creating a reference for finding my favorites. Yeah, that's a project. Yeah, I'm a little bit peeved. Like, I've stopped hearting things because I'm waiting for them to release a way for me to organize my hearts. Because what I want to do with style is to be able to say, I really need a children's book style, and I want to look through only my favorites. So I'm going to look in my children's book style folder. And now here's the 7 that I found. Yeah, go ahead.
David did say in office hours that he was really disappointed with the Style Explorer. He understands that 90% of people are going to be happy with it in general, but it's not what he visualized at all. He's really he said he's quite upset about it, is what he said. I thought it was quite nice. Oh, bless him. I said, it's not that bad, it's not that bad, David. But yeah, the Style Explorer is doing my nutting because the tagging system, they've used 8 different prompts to create all 8 blocks that you get, and they've all got portraits, landscapes, still, this, like that. And so when it's being tagged, it's finding landscapes, portraits, that, and every single one of them. So when it comes to searching it's awful. It's goddamn awful, and they haven't balanced out the style weight properly. Basically, the style weight of 100 isn't going to get you a solid SREF. You're going to get like a photo appear every now and then with a batch of cartoons, aren't you? Or the odd landscape kick in, and a giraffe also turns up because of the archetype of it. If you raise that style weight up a little bit more, you're going to get consistent 4 block of. I'm running every single style weight in the Style Explorer. And I'm running it I'm running it my way, and I'm running it through my own algorithm, which is looking at it and it's ignoring the fact that they're all Grim Reaper, but it's looking for style and color palette. Style, color palette, art, media.
Yeah, it's just we're gonna have to tag it ourselves.
He
we
did
lost
say
too much agency.
He turned around and said he said they're going to redo it, but he said I spoke.
Yeah,
I said 15,000. I did 5,000 of every. I said the whole thing, but said, right, this is wrong. This is why, and I'm going to just show it. And they went, "There's nothing we can do about it." I'm like, "What? You just tweak. You need to tweak this, tweak that, do that." Yeah, because I know. And they're going, "It's too late. It's already there." And David did say, "It's buggy as hell. It's doing this. We're going to redo it." And that's what I was told. I was told we can't change it. It's done. We will, but. David's assuring me they're making a new version completely. So that's really, really good news to hear on Wednesday, because I was like going, this is such bollocks. This is doing my head in. But then most people, Joe Blogs, are going, manga, there you go. There's 30 or 40 there I could use. I said, yeah, but there's 125 of them, and they're not manga.
Right.
But it doesn't matter to Joe, because if you want a manga style, there's at least 30 there. You're going to go, oh God, oh my god, I was spoiled for choice. Whereas I was looking, going, well, there's a photo in the middle of this one. This is this one. I'm being very anal about it. I mean, this isn't precise. This isn't right. But again, most people are very happy with it. It's only nigglers like me that are going, hang on.
You're not a niggler. You're a pro. It's related, but
yeah.
Promptogram's question. I'm totally interrupting to look at Promptogram's question here.
Definitely.
After the rain, the water built up on the hill at the back of the villa. Through the gap in between the structure and the podium, the dark area at the back, the water pours into the front of the villa, flooding the rectangular podium pool, the base of the villa. With this overflow, sheets of water spill out over, i.e. above the front podium wall. Motion low. Huh. So I can hear you prompting the prompter there, like you're trying to talk to the LLM to get it to write the prompt that might work. So the front top rectangular line should have spill over like an infinity pool. You're trying to make it spill over like an infinity pool? Bye, Collect. Have you tried, do you want to try like an overflowing infinity pool? You want me to try it so you don't waste your minutes? We can do that now. Ha! We can do this. I love this. All right.
I do as well. It's amazing.
Overflowing infinity pool. The water always flows below the wall. Oh, I see. Like a waterfall that starts at the edge of that white rectangular. I got it. Well, let's watch that happen now and see what, you know.
I'm guessing you're running a video, yeah? To get it to do it. Yeah. I don't know if this guy was after actually a picture. Oh, he says motion low. Got it.
Let's try it.
Be very easy to do in general, really. You just grab that picture there. You'd actually, again, I'd go to Photoshop and I'd make the water be flowing down and have an end and beginning frame. Jobs are good, and that's practical me. Anyway.
You with your skill set that spans more than one tool.
Well, yeah, but it's easy enough to add a waterfall into those. Even if it's just a trickle coming over the edge of it. That it will start to do it. It will start. It's very good at
you're right.
that. Yeah.
You're right. We could certainly try to do that in the editor. This is cute.
It's already giving you the waterfall on the top right.
So in that case, let's do it. Let's do it. Edit from URL. Grabbing the URL of the picture. Copy link. Pasting it in. Okay, I am going here.
I've been trying this. I haven't been able to get a waterfall to show up in that area yet, in the dark area.
I'm eating my dinner, so I won't show you. I'll just look. It's okay.
Trying to get any water at all to show up on the edge of the thingy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that was a big fat fail. Okay, let me do more, give it more room. Okay, bear with me. I recognize that all of this has to maybe be covered in water, but I want some of it to still show up.
Clever. Interesting theory, this. I'm quite
I
curious
have
to see what this is
no
going to
idea if
do.
it'll work. Probably
No, me
not.
neither.
Uh,
Quite fascinating mindset.
Overflowing infinity pool, and then I'm going to force it because I'm not feeling very patient. For some reason, even though I typed version 6.1, I feel like I have to reinforce it in the properties because I don't know which one it's listening to. Yeah, I might have changed prompt, Josh. You're right. Okay, great work. Okay, so let's try just waterfall.
Rushing waterfall, yeah. Just
Rushing
get some motion in there.
Waterfall over the edge of the white platform sort of thing. All right.
Yeah, maybe.
All this to say, Promptogram, is that when you add a waterfall in via video, you're asking it to come to it. Midjourney Video doesn't want to create anything new. It's very resistant to adding anything to the image that is not present. So what I'm trying to force is adding some sort of water to the existing image so that you get any water in the image at all. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to just get it to add any sort of water at all to this platformy thing. Ah! We're starting to get a little something in that one. That was good. I don't know why this one managed that and nothing else did. This is tough. I am really sorry that I have one more idea. It's hard to get the editor for the same reason to add something that isn't already there. Oh, look. Okay, we got that.
Oh, okay.
We got that.
Now you need to leave that there and stretch outwards in the editor, right? Re-edit and widen that. We'll keep widening it.
Okay, let's try this.
It's already there now, so it's going to pick up on the data that's created. So by stretching out little bit at a time, it's going to just keep adding it on. It's the law of the editor at this point. Yes, that's it. I detest the editor, I really do. But
I know if you're used to Photoshop or just basically anything that works, then the editor is like really trading down.
Yeah. Kinky just jumps in there, just drags things about and does it. I'm like, first time. It's like, oh come on, really? I'm like yourself. I've got lists down the side of 60, 70 different generations going. I will make, and I give up here now.
Totally.
Totally. If you have that skill set to go elsewhere, do so. It's just not worth your time and your headache. But when it works beautifully. I like that. And now, no, as soon as I saw you had that little bit there, I knew you got it. That's it. You're winning now.
I'm winning.
Takes that little bit.
I'm winning.
Yeah.
Okay.
It took
so we're gonna edit again.
To get that. Yeah.
Or do it again.
Yeah. And David's always said, Midjourney doesn't do everything. You could go to other AIs and do things, and then come back to Midjourney with it. And that's been what I've been doing since day one. When Midjourney fails, other AIs taking place.
Midjourney only takes you mid-journey.
Yeah. You go to Nano Banana right now, give it that photo and say, make the bottom block of this a waterfall. It'll do it. Actually, let me just ask it now and see how quick I can do it.
Well, no, I've worked so hard to do this.
Oh, I know, but I'm gonna just show how irritating it is. ChatGPT 5, I'll do it with that one. Quick, click, and give it a second. I've just asked ChatGPT just to add a waterfall to the bottom block. This is irritating as hell.
Repainting editor jobs is not supported.
Yeah. But with this, of course, then I could use it. That's the first thing ChatGPT just gave me. It took 45 seconds.
Where? Great.
Awful,
okay.
Isn't it?
So 45 seconds. So now I'm gonna copy this link and I'm gonna pretend that I made that in the editor.
Awful. It is awful, isn't it? That the LLM is
so
good.
Hello, animals.
The LLM is so good on ChatGPT 5 that it understands us so much. I can't wait that Midjourney catches up with that part as well. It'll be. I think it'll happen in the next few versions where they'll improve that side. Better understanding,
Yeah.
Because I literally even said to it the bottom block underneath the architecture, and it took it straight off. I thought that's amazing. I'll try it in banana as well.
You add an R to the end of banana.
Banana, yeah, probably banana. Yeah, it's Midland accent. Yeah.
I love it so much.
Banana. I didn't realize I did it until when I said it out loud. I went, "Oh, I do." No clue.
Look, it's working.
Yay!
So, Promptogram, the answer was easy. It was just, fuck your image. Use a different image.
Yeah.
That's the advice from the experts. How do you work bananas?
Yeah, but you put that as an end scene though, and you're going to that. Is that what you did? Oh, you do it as a start scene as well. Right. What I thought you were going to. You see, Clarinet, because you lost the definition of the building, right? If you'd used the first original image as the starting frame, and then that second image as the end frame, you'd have got a crossover in the middle of that block still being broad and long. And the waterfall will start to create a blend, and there'll be a middle frame there, which will still keep the characteristics of the building, and the waterfall's there. Then you capture that shot, you're ready to rock and roll, right? That's how I would do it to keep the structure integrity of the building. What? Because it's not the same. Somebody could say, "Well, that's not the same swimming pool," because it's not, is it? So, there they go. I'm sure the person who did was this you? Was it Johnny?
No, it was Promptogram.
Oh, I noticed the picture said Johnny Bones on it. See, so I was like, Johnny's been probably trying to help people.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, I think you're using the one that I modified.
Oh, okay, right, got it. No.
There's lots of rotation because I was stuck in motion high, but
yeah, that's okay, isn't it? It's got the waterfall that you wanted, and if you But yeah, if you wanted the integrity of the building, that's where it changes, isn't it? It's the
What are you doing? Frame. Get out of the garbage, you freaking alley cat! What is wrong? Are you hungry? Are you bored?
Because you don't feed. Yeah, you don't feed him, do you?
Jeez.
Yeah. There's something. I lost the pool, but now we have more places to swim in, I guess.
Yeah, it looks very James Bond. Very James Bond villain, doesn't it? Sort of
yeah.
Just imagine talking to the evil guy, and he presses a button, and he opens the door, and you end up flying down that little waterfall. Yeah. You have disappointed me. Presses the button.
Oh, did I reverse it? I think I accidentally started it with the waterfall and ended it with the blank building.
Oh, well, that maybe that'll work. Maybe there'll be a crossover. There's always going to be a crossover point between the two, but so you could try both ways. But yeah, it would probably be better to have the main block, because then the water will start to flow over it, and then at the very end it'll shrink and become small. So yeah, you did it the wrong way.
Yeah. Did it the wrong way. Look, that's
wow,
so
look at
funny.
That. Oh, that's still cool though. Still cool. You see how it's going to work when you do it the other way around, though. It's going to be really good. Look at that. Boom. Yeah.
That's nice. So, Promptogram, what do you think? Do you have the next thing you want to do?
The building podium disappears, says Promptogram.
To Johnny Bones there. Mike, please.
Oh,
absolutely.
Right. Yeah.
Go for it, Josh.
See the space in between the curvy upper structure and the lower white structure? There was a white wall there that's now glass, and I think that's what's bothering.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Right. Is that what my picture did when I did it?
Yeah, you lost the white wall.
Oh no, it didn't have a white wall. The original picture doesn't have a white wall.
It sure does. Right there. Look.
Hang on. This picture. Oh, you see that? That's not the picture I got. That's the picture I'm using. Let's check this out. It's that one. It's the one I got given.
Oh, what?
It's got glass. It's got glass.
That was someone else's version.
Right. Okay, Johnny Bones, you.
It's
That's Johnny Bones' version then. Right. I just took the first one I saw. Right.
This is
I
can.
One. Okay. Well, I'll grab that one then, and I'll do the exact same thing as I did before.
The URL to what? Promptogram. Yes.
Right. Proper start. House.
These?
Yeah, that's my fault. Then I used the wrong start image.
It doesn't. It's starting with Johnny's image, though. Both of these.
I'll do it again.
All right, hold on. We'll get you one with the right wall.
Yeah.
Holy Slurf! What a great nickname. Salut, Spirit Power. Hello, comment ça va?
Give that one a go.
Ça va bien ici. May, how do I say sad? Crap.
Sad Johnny Bones.
Comme dit-on sad, Spirit Power? Comme dit-on sad?
Different podium. Yeah.
Triste.
Triste?
Triste. T-I-R.
Mais je suis très triste. I knew it was a T. I was like, Okay. Como dit-on? How do you say? Ah oui. Très. Very. C'est vrai. Como dit-on grief?
Triste. Triste. I was triste Spanish and French then for sad. Yeah. We say triste in Spanish. So. Muy triste.
Yep.
Very sad.
Johnny, that sounds like a lot of work.
Should reinsert the building base and podium after making the waterfall. Wow, yeah.
I mean, you could. I mean, you're not wrong.
Yeah. ChatGPT's got now. This is very typical of ChatGPT. It did it literally, boom, like lightning before. Now it's 1/4 done. Oh, I said that, and it's done it. I mean, it's added windows in.
How do I say that? I have chagrin. I am chagrin. I don't think that's how it conjugates in French, though. I hate to bring it up again. It's just, even though I'm, cheerful and interested in having a great time with you guys, it's also true that, and I'm sure anyone who has lost someone close to you, you know that you can function perfectly well and have a great time and laugh and feel all those things. And at the same time, there's some process running in your
Yeah.
in your
yeah,
awareness
absolutely.
and your consciousness. You're like alt tabbed away from it,
Yeah. We lost. Yeah, my nephew passed away last year on the 13th of September, and
Oh,
it's still there's still investigation into how he just died in his sleep. We have no idea what's
Oh,
happening.
wow.
Lots of trauma going on, and he's 19 years old, bless him. He did have learning difficulties, and was slow in his speech and his mannerism, but he's very, very bright little lad. But anyway, yeah, we're 2 days away from a year, and we still have no answers. We have no body back or anything, and it's it's a year. It's crazy, and I'm
It's
still
crazy.
we're all still in limbo. It's people go, what? Oh, it's been a year, aren't you over it? It's like, excuse me, what? Do you have any idea?
Stop it!
It's
Stop it! Not you,
yeah.
the cat. The cat.
No, I guess the cat. Yeah.
God damn it! I can't mute fast enough to yell at the cat on mute.
I know. That's
This cat.
It's been 3 years for me. There you go, Gallifrey.
Jeez.
It's been 3 years for me, my dad, and it still feels like fresh wounds sometimes. I have to come to accept the feeling as him, but still being with me. Yeah.
Were you close, Gally?
Yeah.
Very. Me too. Very, very.
It is. It is so wonderful when we get to the point that we can celebrate them, and it's not an easy journey, but to be able to, but when that point where we settled with ourselves and our grief, and we start to literally celebrate every moment of their lives, and that's how I've had to do it with my children that I've lost, and so and through my grandparents. I haven't lost any parents. My parents are still with us,
I
but
didn't know
my
you
grandparents.
lost children.
Yeah, I've lost 3 children. Yeah, over the time. I've got 3 beautiful, amazing girls, miracles, and brilliant. They're all good, and a blessing. Yeah, every second counts in life. That's something I've learned, and you start to really understand that as you sort of step out of the grief. That first initial grief. Because I don't think you ever stop grieving. It's my first child. It was 27 years ago. I can still feel as part of my soul was ripped away that day, and I still feel it. And she was alive for a very short time, but something, every second counted. Every second of her life, she only knew love, and that's what matters in the long run. And that's what I promise you'll feel this way soon. We're doing once that initial grieving and that you're going to start going, I remember, and you'll smile, and you'll celebrate.
Yes.
You'll celebrate him, and you'll celebrate how proud he was of you and everything that you accomplished, and you're proud of him, and then you become whole again almost. There's still something missing, but you're okay. And so I hope those words help.
It helps. It helps.
All right, now I've got the picture
I'm
of
so
the
glad
waterfall
that
now.
I mentioned it. You guys.
It's as I say, 27 years. People go, really? I'm like, yeah, you never stop grieving, not really. Anyway, say copy image. I've got a beautiful image now. That's as it was. It actually took me 6 more attempts, by the way, with ChatGPT to get this, but
but looks
That's bang-
fantastic.
That's banging, right? There you go.
Right. So
It's
I just want to interrupt, since it is exactly 2 hours past the start, that although we are still going to hang out here on Discord, to those of you watching through other channels, we are at the end of Promptcraft Live. Thank you so much for joining us. We talked about David Scheer's book, The Death of Drawing, and we got philosophical, and then we started trying to create waterfalls. So that about sums up any given Promptcraft. Oh, and we talked about death. So, we just threw that in there. So I hope you all enjoyed Promptcraft Live today. And if you want to party on with us, we are over on the Discord channel, Midjourney's official Discord server, which is discord.gg/Midjourney. Just pop that